Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
What a day. It is Follow the Money. Good to have you on board. This show is brought to you by DraftKings. Last 24 hours again, Pete Carroll was essentially fired. He's going to remain on as an advisor to the team. He was crying, by the way. Pete Carroll never cries. He was crying at his press conference. Nick Saban retired yesterday afternoon, and then earlier this morning, not even an hour ago, we found out Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots were parting ways after 24 years and 6 Super Bowl championships. Nigel Seeley joins the program now, our pal. We talk soccer with him on a weekly basis. He's with PremierSportsPlays.com. I want to tie all this in to the soccer world and the EPL, Nigel. First of all, good morning, mate. Thanks for the time as always. Do you have maybe a bet that you like on a manager that might get sacked, as you call it, or fired in the Prem?
Well, first of all, as you know, I don't know very little or I don't really follow the NFL, really. It's not one of the sports I follow, but I do know the name Belichick. I mean, he's synonymous with the American sport when I grew up over here. So it's a big news for me as well. So something I don't actually read, a sport I don't actually follow. So It must be massive news for you guys waking up this morning. I can remember many years ago when there was a big Liverpool at the top of the Premier League and Kenny Dalglish was like an icon manager. And he retired and he said it was down to stress and he left the club, and it was a huge news moment. So I can understand what you guys are going through there with the breaking news this morning. The Premier League, obviously, we bet on who will be the next manager to go. It's a market that gets bet every single week and it changes on results. I don't know if that's as a proper or market that you have over there in the States. But this is something we do have over here. And if thinking on some of the sports books with licenses across America, you'll be able to see some of the odds on offer there. I think this season, a lot of the teams at the bottom of the league have made their move already on managers. I think that they've made their move. Sheffield United have got a new coach. There's a lot of teams at the bottom have already made the move. Burnley, manager at the bottom of the table. Company got them out of the Championship last season and they're in great shape. He's one of the favourites to lose his job. And you've also got the guy at Luton who's going nowhere. I mean, the way he's held himself with some sort of problems off the field in terms of the player Lockyer who collapsed the last time in the match recently. I mean, his stock is very, very high. So I was looking at the market in that market. The Manchester United manager is the favourite, but each week he wins and he loses and we don't really know. A lot of the teams have got cup competitions to play for. And it's 80-1 that no manager leaves from now till the end of the season in the Premier League. And I think that is an absolute massive price. Some firms are 50, some firms are 40s. But if you can get anywhere around that kind of price for no more manager firing or sacking at 80-1, I think it's a price that's going to drop every week. I just can't see any manager that is under pressure who's going to lose. I think that they've got big contracts and they keep them. And I think all the sacking is going to be in the NFL, not in the Premier League.
Excellent. We had a bit of mini break here in the Premier League, and we only have 4 matches this weekend. You're involved with several totals. How about the early one Saturday morning with Chelsea and Fulham?
Well, I mean, I know many people look at these matches and they sort of understand geographically where some of these matches are located, but Chelsea and Fulham are both situated in West London. And it's between the two clubs, it's 1.7 miles between the two of them. So it's a very, very short, big rivalry, these two sides. And not something that you would think when you look at Arsenal and Tottenham and Liverpool and Everton, but Chelsea and Fulham are a rivalry in West London. You can walk from one stadium to the other stadium in about 25 minutes. It's a really good walk. There's some nice bars. It takes me about 4.5 hours to do a 25-minute walk, so I stop into every bar along the way there. But it's a lovely walk there along the King's Road at in Kensington and Chelsea. It's a beautiful area. So this is a big derby. And it's also an early kickoff. And early kickoffs don't really lend themselves to many overs. They're usually quite cagey. I think looking at the fixtures, it's a match that neither side really want to go into. They played it both in midweek. They both travelled up north for Carabao Cup semi-finals. Fulham went to Liverpool. Chelsea went to Middlesbrough. Long distance for them. They've come back here with a Premier League game. They met earlier in the season. It was a 2-0 win for Chelsea. And I think the line on the goals here is a little bit higher. I've been betting a lot of overs recently rather than unders, and unders haven't been profitable for me. But I think plus 135 on the unders is a big, big price. If you look at Chelsea, one of their top goal scorers, Nicholas Jackson, he's away at the African Cup of Nations. Their big money signing, Nkunku, is injured. Fulham have lost 3 players to the African Cup of Nations. That's really important for betting over the next 3 weeks. Look at the teams in the Premier League that have players away in the African Cup of Nations. And I think Chelsea are going to lose 2 of their top strikers. I think the way they go, they've got some big cup matches, both of them, to play in the FA Cup and also the Carabao Cup. And I can just see this one being quite a close encounter between 2 real close neighbours. So small bet, under 2.5 goals. I think the price, plus 135, I think it's a tremendous bet. I would probably be around about even money. But at 135, I think that's a little bit too generous. So I would have a little small wager on under 2.5 goals, Chelsea for them.
All right, 2 matches Sunday. How about Everton Villa and Man U Tottenham? Tell us why you like both matches over.
Well, the Everton Villa game is a really looks a great match to watch. Aston Villa have been so entertaining this season. They've done all their best work at home. Away from home, they haven't been that great. If you look at their defensive record away from home, they have the second worst defence in the top half of the Premier League on the road. Only Newcastle have conceded more goals. So they score goals, but they concede an awful lot of goals. The last 4 road matches for Aston Villa, every single one cashed over 2.5. 5 of their last 6 matches on the road have cashed over 2.5. If you look at Villa, their last 10 road matches, they've scored in every single match. Everton have scored in 8 of their last 9 home matches, and they've scored 3 goals against Newcastle. They've scored 2 goals against Chelsea, and they scored against Manchester City. I think both of them need the win for various different reasons. Aston Villa get the win, they go top of the table in the Premier League because Liverpool don't play this week. Everton need the win to escape the relegation zone because of the points deduction they have. And I think both managers like to go at it. They like to play very entertaining football. Everton had their top goal scorer suspended because he had a red card in the FA Cup game. That's been rescinded now, so Calvert-Lewin will be able to play. I think this will be a real entertaining watch. I think over 2.5 goals is a little bit lower than the odds that I would usually play, but around about minus 130 for over 2.5 goals. I think if you're looking for a parlay, stick it in the parlay. I wouldn't play as a single because it's a little bit not so much. You're not going to get much cash back on that. But minus 130-ish over 2.5 goals, Everton Villa. The other game, Man United v Tottenham. This is an interesting one because on all the stats of this season, you would say, yes, this is going to be an over match. But Tottenham have lost some key players. Son, their top goal scorer, their captain, he's away at the Asian Cup. The Asian Cup is going on at the same time as the African Cup of Nations, so not him. Basuma, their very influential key midfielder, is away as well. We all know they've lost Harry Kane. Maddison is injured, so their real key goal scoring players aren't there. Richarlison is carrying the them up front. I mean, he's in good goal scoring form. Man United so inconsistent. But if you look at Man United this season, 7 of their 10 matches at home have scored at least 3 goals. If you look at Tottenham, 10 of their 11 matches in the Premier League, 10 of the last 11 matches in the Premier League have seen at least 3 goals. So on the stats, you would say goals, average 3.3 goals per game in the last 10 matches these two have faced. But it's a high line. It's 3 and minus 132. Just a small lean for me on that one. Because I am worried about the players that Tottenham are missing. So if they were at full strength, I think you'd be having that as banker material over 3 goals. But I think given some of them absentees for Tottenham, I'm a little bit worried. But these two managers, again, Postecoglou knows how he just attack. If he goes 2-0 down, he doesn't care if they lose 4 or 5. He'll just play 6 players up front, and we'll see a basketball-type soccer match.
Your success on this show with the lower leagues in 6 years has been phenomenal. How about League Two, Crewe and Swindon? You want to oppose Swindon Town again?
Yeah, I mean, they're the team that I've opposed pretty much regularly. I mean, I've been doing all right on the lower leagues, but I haven't really kicked. I've had a sort of bad run on the Premier League and also in the big leagues around Europe as well. But the lower leagues have served me good, and opposing Swindon has been a very, very good strategy. Crewe are right up there in the mix in automatic promotion. They're a side that are a really, really good team. They're very underrated in terms of the personnel they have there, but they've got in results. At home, they're very hard to beat. And Swindon, they've got all kinds of problems behind the scenes. Their 2 top goal scorers were both on loan. And in January, beginning of January, both of their players were recalled by their teams. So they counted for 70% of Swindon's goals, those 2 players, and they've both gone now. So it was a bad run for Swindon. And going to Crewe, they were available at plus 110 earlier in the week. That's gone now. You'll be lucky to get even money. If you can get even money, get on Crewe to beat Swindon. But I think I would go down as low as minus 110. I'd have to take minus money. If they were minus 115, I might even be tempted. But I think Crewe are the best bet of all the lower leagues this week at home to a fading Swindon side who were going downhill before the players departed in January, the loan players. Now they've gone. I don't think it's going to be a very, very happy few months for Swindon supporters.
About 90 seconds here, Nigel. Any Aussie Open futures that you like?
Yeah, the draw come out. I mean, there's a real dominance now in the men's and the women's game. There's top 4 players are dominant in the men's game. You have Djokovic, you have Alcaraz, you have Sinner, and you have Medvedev as well. Therefore, just a little bit ahead of all the rest in the bunch. I've already bet Sinner at the end of last year at 16-1 to win the Australian Open. He's now about 6-1. So I'm just happy with that position. I'm not going to play anymore. You can't rule out Djokovic, but he's set up with a meeting with Ben Shelton, the young American hope who's going to have a good year. I think he's going to have a good Australian Open here. So I probably wouldn't play anything on the men's. On the women's draw, I think there's a cigarette paper between the top 4 in the betting. I think Świątek is the best player, but her record in Australia is pretty poor. She doesn't like fast conditions, and this is going to be a little bit quick for her. She's never, ever made the final, even being dominant. She's on a 15-match winning run, but she hasn't really done anything Australian Open. I think in the bottom half of the draw is where you want to look at. I think it's slightly easier. Sabalenka is in the bottom half of the draw, the defending champion, the number 2 seed. She had a disappointing final defeat against Rybakina, where she lost 6-love in a set, which would really hurt her. Rybakina got beat today. And I think the market is really undervalued on Coco Gauff. She's the highest paid women's sports star in the world. She's got an aura about her, a swagger about her. She's won the US Open. She's confident. I think 7-1 is a big, big price. If she gets to the semi-finals and plays Sabalenka, which she's likely to do, she's got a 4-2 winning record against Sabalenka. She's got nothing to worry about. She's got a winning record against Rybakina. And the only player that she's got a bad losing record against is Świątek, the number 1 seed. And the only way they can meet in the final. Each way, Coco Gauff 7-1. If they meet Świątek, we've already cashed. So that's my bet, 7-1 Coco Gauff.
Very good. You're the best, mate. Best of luck this week and beyond. Thank you for the time.
Take care, guys.
We'll go over a list
Nigel.
of names, possible replacements for Bill Belichick in New England coming up next.
VSiN Pro subscriber today. Get unlimited access to the vsin.com/picks page. We're on both on the Chiefs. Matt Humans likes the under. I'm also on the Browns as well. More picks coming up. And become a VSiN Pro subscriber today for all the picks. Use promo code FTM for Follow the Money. You get 10% off. Promo code FTM.
So earlier today, not even 90 minutes ago, Adam Schefter tweeted from ESPN that Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots are going to part ways after 24 years and 6 Super Bowl championships during his time as a head coach there. The Athletic quickly put out a story of 10 names that could replace Bill Belichick in New England. And they have like different tiers. One of them would be called the front runners. I don't think anybody will be surprised to find out that in that list they put Jared Mayo and Mike Vrabel.
Mm-hmm.
Vrabel, I think, would be...
That seems like a done deal to me.
That
was
would-
going to be Vrabel.
He's the most obvious candidate.
This is the same thing, though. I mean, this is, it's funny. Greg Rosenthal, NFL Network, late yesterday tweeted, if we get Belichick news, this is going to be a national holiday. What would have happened? Carroll, Saban, Belichick the same day. And it happened several hours later.
Uh-huh.
But it's the same thing in New England now. You want to follow this guy?
No, especially with the put it this way. I mean, think about where New England's at right now, talent-wise, compared to what Nick Saban's leaving Alabama like.
Right.
There's going to be a lot left in the cabinets there, in the cupboards at Alabama.
Yeah.
That's totally bare in New England. The defense is pretty good.
Yeah, the last 2 years have been ugly, but certainly this was a debacle this past season. And Saban's going out pretty much close to on top. You might argue his best coaching job ever. I can't argue. If you want to say that, that's fine. How talented was this Alabama team, especially when you saw Milroe was a bit of a project and he still went to the playoff and beat Georgia.
Right.
But this is, to me, it's now you had the reports that it was going to be Mayo months ago. But now with Vrabel open, I think that
makes a lot of sense.
There, that opens things up, and I think it's going to be Vrabel and makes sense. And with the Belichick angle, I keep saying Washington, but does Arthur Blank go for it now? You want to talk about an upgrade from the GOAT, Art Smith to the GOAT? Mm-hmm. Oh, God.
No kidding.
And Belichick's walking into a great situation.
Yeah.
A team that should have made the playoffs with plenty of offensive weapons. He just needs a quarterback.
Both guys, again, are similar in so many ways. And I'm glad we brought this up earlier. Brett McMurphy did as well. Don't forget what Alabama was like before Saban got there. I mean, Urban Meyer in Florida, they were starting to rule the SEC. They won 2 national championships. He had Tim Tebow. And it was a down time at Alabama, and he completely flipped it. Again, 16 consecutive 10-win seasons after his first season, which he won 7 games. If you go back to before Bill Belichick took over in New England, they were almost irrelevant. I know they made the Super Bowl against the Packers. They made the Super Bowl against the Bears. I did not know a single Patriots fan anywhere. And then they started to win championships, and you know what happens in this country when that happens. They're going to become super popular, and then there were Patriots fans everywhere. They were not even talked about, the Patriots. Nobody cared about them. And they turned into like a kind of a national team because they had Brady and Belichick, and they won so much.
Yeah.
And so both
70s and 80s were horrible.
Terrible.
I mean, the team was supposed to move.
Yeah.
Was it Sullivan Stadium? Our Nesson fans can help me out, but that apparently was a dump. And then 85 was kind of a fluke where they just got hot playoff time, got hot at the right time, and then got run out by the Bears in the Super Bowl. And then Parcells did an excellent job taking them to the Super Bowl. But then it was, I would say, Bledsoe had a complicated legacy.
Yeah.
Certainly, you talk about number 1 overall pick, but could have won more games, and then Brady comes in and changes everything as well. So what do you think of the Atlanta angle?
I would like that. I think
Blank needs to go for this big time.
No,
yes.
I mean, there needs to be an outright battle, a battle to the death for this guy between Atlanta and the Chargers. And if you want to throw some other teams out there as well, like I'll buy it. If the Raiders want to get involved, fine. I don't think they're going to.
Yeah.
But certainly, I mean, the Chargers and the Falcons should be doing whatever they can, and they should have been already doing this before the news today to say, hey, Billy Boy, what's it going to take? What do you need?
Do you push back if you're the owner, though, about who he's going to hire? Like, are you going to come in and bring in your kids to run stuff? And,
I think
and the defense, is it Patricia? Are you going to do McDaniels again? I mean,
I honestly think that's going to have to be a conversation.
Yeah.
And so when Bill Belichick had his press conference on Monday, he said that to the media. He told everybody, like, if there's like, I'll have that conversation about stepping down as the guy in charge of, making personnel moves. I'll have that conversation. So he's not going to be the GM wherever he goes next. I think the Chargers or anybody else would be foolish to allow him to do
absolutely.
that. And I think Bill would actually admit, I'm fine, I just want to coach.
He's got to be. I mean, that is staggering. That go back to 2013. A guy they've drafted in the first 3 rounds hasn't got a second contract. Come on.
Yep.
But we'll know more coming up. There's Kraft and Belichick are supposedly doing a press conference at 9 Eastern.
Okay, we have Adam Jones from WEEI joining the program coming up in about 25 minutes as well. So DraftKings updated some odds here on Bill Belichick's next team. Nowhere is plus 175. That's the shortest shot on the board. Chargers 2-1, followed by the Commanders and the Falcons at 4. The field, I don't understand why he would go to the Titans. The Titans, Panthers.
I'd rather go to the Saints. If you're the Saints,
that
opens things up too. Come on, get Dennis Allen out of there.
Yeah.
Look who's available.
Yeah, you are a quarterback away in Atlanta. Again, this is kind of what Brady did. Brady recognized that the Buccaneers had a lot of really good personnel on that team. Great defense, good weapons, Mike Evans, Hall of Fame receiver. And he's like, yeah, maybe I can win there. And Drew Brees was at the end of the line. If he goes to Atlanta in that division right now with what they have in offense and they could actually land a quarterback, why could he not, like, in theory, kind of rule the NFC South for the next 4 to 5 years? I think there's a chance that if he would go to Atlanta, that we're going to look back and say, holy hell, did Arthur Smith screw this up?
Yeah.
The Athletic also wrote possible candidates. Bill O'Brien.
Oh, please. That kick, no way.
No way. Absolutely no chance that I want him as the head coach.
No, that'd be a mistake.
They put Brian Flores down. That would be pretty interesting.
I could see that.
Yeah, so could I.
The boy, did the Bears make a mistake with their announcement. If you just waited, I mean,
that's another one.
Come on, Eberflus or Belichick?
Great point, Paul.
And he's walking into a number 1 pick. Oh,
and all that draft capital. They need to rethink this.
You can't bring this guy back. You can't.
I mean, if Belichick would make it clear to the Bears, have his agent reach out, hey, are you sure about this? I would consider coming to Chicago. They would have to say, oh, well, hold on, we changed our minds here about Eberflus.
Yeah. If you're going to run it like a mom and pop store, though, I mean, that is, how do you just not say, well, okay, same thing, right? The Bears should be going after Harbaugh. The Bears should be asking Belichick, what do you want? Let's make this work and turn this around.
The Athletic wrote less likely candidates. Josh McDaniels, I would hope so. I would hope he would be considered less likely. Ben Johnson, on the list. He's going to be on everybody's list for the most part.
Yeah.
Bobby Slowick, he's the OC in Houston, and Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh's not. Come on. That to me would feel like a 1,000,000 to 1 shot if Harbaugh were to go to New England. I could see him going to Alabama sooner than New England.
What's more of a slam dunk, Vrabel to New England or Dan Quinn to Seattle?
Good question.
Dan Quinn we're in Lanning territory now.
I think Dan Quinn makes a lot of sense in
Lanning's
Seattle.
like, what's Lanning? What'd you say? He's $2 now, $3?
He moved to minus $3.
Go to Alabama. Dan Quinn was $1.50 to go to Seattle. I mean, that is just that makes so much sense. He was running the defense there with the Legion of Boom, and it was vomit-inducing the Seattle game, the Pittsburgh game rather.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing that did Carroll in. The defense was horrendous down the stretch.
It sure was.
And how bad it was the last few years. So that to me, that's going to be Quinn.
I think so too.
But with the Vrabel connections and now that he's...
It depends on, too. I mean, Vrabel's a really good coach. You think that a lot of these franchises are going to want him. And so would he want to take that job? Like, does he look at it kind of like the mentor and the protege?
Well, he's part of the Patriot way, though.
I know, so that's what I'm saying. But
I think he braces it and wants it and, give it a hug.
Sure. Like, even though, like, there are better jobs out there right now, I think that he would look at it and say, this is who I am. I cut my teeth here.
Yeah.
I'm, from the same cloth. Throw out any cliche that you want. And I got to go back there. I got to go back home, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's what we always talk about with college coaches who have their ties. Hey, he went to this school. Keep an eye on him.
Well, I don't think, it's interesting they threw the Saints and Jets up there. The Giants a little aggressive. I mean, we're a year removed from Daboll winning Coach of the Year. Mm-hmm. Although there's something going on there because Wink Martindale goes off on him, and then he leaves after he cleaned house with the defense. But in any event, you have to reassess everything. I don't care who your coach is right now. Look who's available.
Yep.
Vrabel, Belichick. Harbaugh's going to go to the NFL.
Yep. I'd say everything's on the table right now. And if you thought you made up your mind earlier in the week, time to change your mind. This is the wackiest beginning to an offseason in college and the NFL, and the best candidates are available that I can ever remember. No hyperbole. Mm-hmm. Probably not even close. Every year we're stretching like, I think this guy's going to... Well, we don't know.
Okay. We haven't even mentioned this yet. Mike Florio thinks Tomlin could leave Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That's not that he's going to be fired, but Tomlin could move on from the Steelers. How about that?
This is going to be fun coming up next. A booby prize winner in Circa Millions is going to join the show. A lot to go over with picking losers compared to winners. Welcome back. It is Follow the Money. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard. We're live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. In 15 minutes, Adam Jones is going to join the program, radio host, WEEI in Boston. Earlier this morning, about 90 minutes ago, it was announced Adam Schefter actually had the breaking news that Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots agreed to part ways. So he's out after 24 years. So we'll get Adam's take on that and who could replace Bill when we talk to him coming up in 15 minutes. Here, this is going to be a fun conversation because the contest called Circa Millions, you got to pick 5 bets every week in the NFL against the spread. And the winning percentage every single year is like around 70%. It's difficult to win the whole thing. However, they added this, 4 years ago, a booby prize. If you finish in last place this year, that prize was $100,000. So basically, Pauly picked the most losers. And James Mitchell joins the program now. He was part of a group that won $100,000 and the booby prize here at Circa Millions. James, thanks for the time. Congratulations on being so bad.
Mitch, Pauly, good morning to the both of you. Thanks so much. And, if you can't be first, you got to be last.
Little Ricky Bobby, right?
That's exactly right.
So I'm guessing that you did not enter the season. This is not your first go-around here at Circa Millions also. You did not enter the season thinking, let's go for the booby prize, correct?
That is correct. We didn't start trying to lose until after week 5. We had a really putrid start with our 2 entries this year and flipped the switch and got hot with both entries, losing and winning. We actually were only half a point out of the top 100 with our second entry to cash up top as well.
Oh, geez. Okay. So why after 5 weeks? At that point, like where were you guys trending at that point of the season on the entry that won the whole thing?
We only had 9.5 points and 10 points between the 2 entries out of obviously a possible 20, 25. and we were, 11 points out of first place, but only 4 out of the booby. And we actually did go for the booby 2 years ago as well, after a little rough patch mid-season. It fell short of it that time, but with the different quarterly prizes, there's so many different ways for you to try and cash in Circa Millions, which really makes it a great contest.
Did you win a quarterly?
No quarterly. We're certainly in contention, Pauly.
Okay.
If you go 15-5 or 5-15, you can't even get a free buffet ticket from Jeff Benson over at Circa. 15-5 doesn't get you anything.
Well, okay, so tracking that then, the quarterly at the bottom, like what do you have to go to be in contention? Do you need to go like 2-18 and be that bad?
For, I believe it's the first quarter and the third quarter are the 20 pick quarter segments. 3 got it done both times, but in the 5-week segments, you've got to put up 19 losses at least.
Oh my goodness.
It's the same as up top.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to ask you, right? I mean, all this talk about, man, it's really difficult to like cash in the money or hit at that clip where you have a chance to win this whole thing. In trying to do this, how difficult did you guys find it to be in trying to find losers compared to picking winners? It's
certainly a different way to approach the card. Trying to get your brain to think about how we can best lose. I'd say fortunately for us, there were a significant amount of bad quarterbacks that we would target on a week in, week out basis and start our process there.
Did you play stale lines if they were available?
No, not. I mean, the CLV that you get maybe when you submit Saturday morning, opposed to what a game kicks off at, wasn't too significant. Even in week 18 this year, we were holding on until we had to submit by noon on Saturday here on the East Coast. And there really wasn't anything that, moved more than a point. So it was pretty straightforward.
So what would your advice be to somebody getting into a contest like this and it needs to be, awful? You have to be as bad as possible to win it. What would you say to people who are going to attack it next year like that?
You want to target those bad coach quarterback relationships, those types of teams. For instance, we were 0-6 this year betting on the Chargers, right? Again, kind of a different way to have your mind think.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But right up until Staley was fired, we were targeting them every single week.
You were. You wanted to have
Absolutely.
the Chargers on your card because you thought they gave you the best chance to actually pick a loser.
Mitch, I can guarantee you they gave us the best chance to pick a loser. Yeah.
So also, like the Panthers, we know this, the record worse in football. Also, when it comes to like this racket, right, against the spread, they were terrible. I think maybe the worst team in the league. Were you targeting the Panthers as the season would go on? And then, like, did you track that? Like, just teams that were not meeting expectations with the point spread in a spot where they were taking on a team that was off to a good start ATS. Would you look at maybe a matchup like that?
Absolutely. And you can also do it up top, right? The Buccaneers were a great team for us in terms of, picking against them, right? Because the Bucs covered at a very high clip this year. And I think they were still a team that, doesn't necessarily get the respect against the number, as you can probably see, this weekend by being a home playoff dog.
Yeah. Were you guys fading the Eagles down the stretch?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, good
Broken
move there.
Team. And I think that Monday night game this week, I think those are just two teams going in opposite directions.
Yeah. All right, so this is going to be another interesting way to look at it. As Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, James Mitchell, he was part of a group that won the Booby Prize for the worst overall record against the spread in Circa Millions this year. So I'll ask you to try to find us a loser this weekend then. Like you just mentioned it then. If you were trying to go with a loser, would you be betting Philadelphia -3 right now?
Philly -3 would definitely make the short card. I believe at Circa, the Dolphins-Chiefs game is up to 4.5. I will not be laying 4.5 points with the Chiefs.
so I feel good about that. You do the opposite.
I think right.
Got that right.
So now I feel I already bet the Chiefs 3.5. That's good then. Yeah.
Right. Well, do you have any?
3.5 is a much better number, right?
Yeah. Sure.
I just think the Dolphins' running game is, certainly better than average, and the Chiefs are really a defense that's built to play against the pass because they're always playing from ahead. I feel as though it's going to be just as cold for the Chiefs when they're on offense as it is for the Dolphins. And, the 4.5 points, how many field goals can you really see? I think the value now lies with the Dolphins.
Do you have a family, and do you have any plans with the money?
A lot of it's going into my daughter's college savings account. And, I'll do a little something nice for the wife.
Well, you're coming out to Las Vegas tonight. It's Pauly Palooza this weekend here at Circa Stadium Swim. Probably have a little fun too, huh?
Really looking forward to Pauly Palooza. Hopefully not just a 1-year attendee, but it should be a very fun weekend and a celebration tomorrow evening during the award ceremony.
Okay, so I will say this: if those 2 games that you just talked about right now, if you nail those right and get them, let's say, wrong again, we got to talk to you next week for a couple of minutes and find out who you don't like again in the next round.
A lot of pressure, but I guess none of it's on me.
Yeah.
So Mitch, Pauly, I'd love that.
Keep stinking up the joint, James. Thanks for the time today. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats again.
Yep. See you this weekend.
See that again? That it can't be that easy, right?
No, Mike Palm says it all the time. It's probably more difficult to pick losers than to pick winners.
Although I did like the strategy there. It's like it was automatic. We had to bet against Staley.
What was it?
Or bet on them, I guess.
Yeah, right. Well, was it 2 years ago? The guy that won told us week 2 he was trying to go for the booby.
Yeah.
Because he had a 5-0 and an 0-5. Mm-hmm. And he punted on the 0-5 after 1 week.
Right. So that they didn't make up their minds until after week 5.
I think that kid was from Minnesota. Yeah, right. That's wild. And then to think he couldn't get a quarterly cash, but to get it done. Soda Man was the
Soda Man, yeah. So that previous person was from Minnesota. Matty Saint, who won Circa Millions this year, is from Minnesota.
Went to the same college, St. Cloud State.
He had that entry on his own, by the way.
I can't believe that.
And he took the whole thing down.
I know. What a story.
And Chris, who was down to the final 13 in Survivor, is from Minnesota. And they listen to this show, VSiN, every single day.
There were guys a couple of years ago made a deep run from St. Cloud, Minnesota.
That's right.
I don't know what's going on. What's in the water there?
What happened to you?
I don't know.
You made it deep in Survivor, yeah.
That's right. Blame Jordan Love. What happened there? How about the Randy McKay story? Yeah. He won the DraftKings contest for $400,000, I think, and then he finished 2 entries top 100 in Circa Millions.
He finished, I think, tied for 14th with one of his entries here.
Former VSiN Listener of the Year. Big old Randy McKay.
That's not a coincidence, by the way. Guys like Randy, he finishes like in the money every single year.
And he's great at car drawings for whatever reason.
Adam Jones, WEEI in Boston, up next. Who will New England target? Who's going to be the next coach following Bill Belichick?
Super Wild Card weekends here. DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. Official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs. You can bet $5 for new customers on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. A plethora of props, which we'll get to the next 2 days. Download the app now. Use code VEGAS. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Code VEGAS at DraftKings. The crown is yours.
I think it was 7:03 a.m. Eastern Time, 4:03 a.m. out here on the West Coast this morning. So about an hour and 45 minutes ago, when the news broke, Adam Schefter tweeted out from ESPN that Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots have agreed to part ways. And joining us now to discuss this is Adam Jones, radio host on WEEI in Boston. His show is called James and Mago, 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on WEEI. And Adam is on X at Jones, WEEI. Adam, thanks for the time on short notice like this. Did you find that news to be shocking, or did you think this was going to happen this offseason?
No, I mean, look, it's surprising and shocking to see it when you actually just see it right there in front of you. Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, among others, all on top of it. But, Yeah, I think this has been telegraphed for a while. I don't think the trajectory of the franchise obviously has been going in a good way. No playoff wins in 5 years. They've missed the playoffs 3 out of the last 4. 4 wins this year, number 3 pick in the draft. And, I do think with some of the candidates that are out there, there might not be a better time to move on from Bill Belichick. So I guess I'm not surprised or shocked given the news, but it is still shocking to see it right there in front of your face when it's actually, breaking and it's actually happened.
Whose decision was this?
I think it was Robert. I think Robert Kraft made this call. I think the fact that it took so long and it feels like, following the news cycle as we do, it feels like there was some hemming and hawing and some waiting for the right time to make this announcement. I mean, look, a lot of teams are very decisive. Atlanta, Washington, they're not waiting. We even see Alabama, and Tennessee and, Seattle being more decisive. So I do think when you talk about the sentimentality of the move, how emotional Robert Kraft can be, I think that tells you why they waited a handful of days to make a move that I think we all expected. And I do think if anybody else in the organization had a say in it, maybe his son Jonathan, I think this would have happened a long time ago. I think there's a chance if Jonathan were in charge, Bill might not have lasted the year because they were pretty frustrated with this team going all the way back to their game against Indianapolis in Germany.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so what do you expect today at the press conference at 12 your time?
It's a great question. The fact that it's going to be Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick sitting next to one another speaks to them playing up the report from Schefter today that's amicable, which I don't totally buy. I don't totally buy that it's all good, it's mutual, it's amicable. I'm not sure that's exactly how I view this, but I think that's how they're going to play it at the press conference today. Bill can't turn on the charm. Not with the media typically Monday, Wednesday, Friday when he's up there at the podium, certainly not after a loss in postgame, but Bill can turn on the charm. And I imagine they're leaning into that. For as bad as it's gotten the last couple of years for the Patriots and as much as they've fallen off post Tom Brady, today really should be a celebration about what he did. And I would expect that to be the tone of the press conference. Okay,
very good. So what direction do you think the Patriots go in and what they should do? And I think they were handed a great gift, their opportunity now that Vrabel's available.
Yeah, so I think, and I do not personally agree with this, I would lean Vrabel over this, but it sounds like Gerard Mayo is the guy that's been forecasted for over a year, that he was the heir apparent, the coach in waiting. Robert Kraft put out a statement about a year ago now at this time that they were working on an extension for Gerard Mayo. So it sounds to me like he's the guy. Schefter said it today. Locally here in Boston, Tommy Curran, Mike Reese are saying the same thing. So that feels like the guy. I'm disappointed that they're not going to go through what I feel like is a true process, interviewing some of these offensive coordinators or people that are more innovative on the offensive side of the ball. That's why, to me, Mayo's not an ideal fit. That, to me, is why Vrabel, even though I prefer him to Mayo, isn't a perfect fit. But if I were wagering, Mayo would be the guy.
Well, then, okay, put the wagering aside for a second then. If you were in charge, which guy would you go after?
Okay, so the names that I like, Ben Johnson is certainly a popular one, and I could see any team looking after someone like him. I like Bobby Slowick in Houston. I like what he did with a rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud this year. The Patriots are going to be drafting a quarterback highly, I think. Maybe Jaden Daniels at 3. If Mayor Williams fell to them, they could be looking at that at 3. So I'd go with what just worked in Houston with Bobby Slowick. He has NFL ties with his father. He was in San Francisco in that Shanahan offense prior, and he had a very successful year as the OC in Houston. So that would be my personal pick. I can't imagine the Patriots actually get that far in the process, but that's where I would go.
All right, so then Belichick is going to keep coaching, although DraftKings, they have odds up on where is he going to be at next year, and nowhere is the shortest shot on the board at him at plus 175. But of the current jobs that are open, is it going to come down to Atlanta, the Chargers? Are they going to get in a battle for his services? Some other team out there, you think, maybe?
Yeah, so number one, I think he's definitely coaching. So he's not going to take a year off. I think, again, just kind of trying to read the tea leaves here, go follow Schefter's tweets. I think he's basically telling you it's Atlanta. So I think Atlanta is the heavy favorite at this point in time. It's a bad division. It's been floated out there that all these NFC South teams were going to be interested. I don't really see a connection to Carolina. I can't imagine he would follow Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. I don't really see that one happening if they were to move on from Todd Bowles after the postseason is over. So to me, Atlanta makes a lot of sense. That's where I would be wagering.
So, right. I totally agree with you. They have the weapons on offense. See, before you came on, I threw out Washington. But he needs 15 wins, though, to pass Shula. So that's going to take a while if he goes to Washington. I'm going to have to maybe change my mind on this. They're interesting. They have the same odds at 4-1. But I think you're making sense with Atlanta because he can come in and they can win right now.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is it's a much more talented roster. I think at least at the skill positions, and they have some players on defense too than the New England roster. The problem is you still got to find a quarterback there, and that's kind of been Bill's issue ever since Brady left. So that would be the one, potential hiccup there if I'm Arthur Blank. But I think Atlanta makes a lot of sense. I just for the fun of it, and Jerry Jones thinks big. If McCarthy loses this weekend to Green Bay, or if they lose in embarrassing fashion in the divisional round, I could see a potential connection there. Bill, you can go back and look at the comments. When the Patriots played the Cowboys this year, Bill went out of his way to go over the top in praise of Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, the organization, the history, the facilities, the roster. So to me, there might be a potential connection there if anything were to happen with McCarthy and Dallas were to bounce out early.
Now, that's gold. Absolutely bonkers. Could you imagine really, if that comes through when you hit that one out of the park? I don't know the next time I'm going to be in your neck of the woods. Beers are on me if you get this one right.
Okay, that sounds good. I love it.
That would be, imagine the sports world, seriously, if Green Bay would shock everybody this weekend and win the game, and then all of a sudden Jerry Jones is like, yeah, that's it. I mean, I can't do it anymore with McCarthy. And who's available? Oh, yeah, that's right, Bill Belichick now. See, this is why, though, what you brought that up with Atlanta, the quarterback there is still a question mark. L.A. has to be super attractive to him. I know that he's going to get Mahomes in that division, for who knows how many more years, but at least if he goes to L.A., it's like warmer weather, you're living in that city, and oh, by the way, you get Justin Herbert.
Yeah, so look, to me, if I'm Bill, I'm looking at that Chargers job as a real attractive one. Number one, I don't know how big of a fan he is of Herbert. He's had a great track record head-to-head against Herbert. Now, look, he had a great track record head-to-head for against Josh Allen for years. And, that changed very abruptly. So it could change with Herbert. Maybe he's higher on him than I know. I think the geography stuff is overrated. But people close to Bill, media members in the market, people close to people in Bill's circle will tell you he wants to remain on the East Coast. They're ruling out the Chargers. And what I think the real factor is, Bill's going to want his money. Bill is going, wherever he goes, he's going to be well compensated. And I don't know that the Chargers are the team that's going to step up and do that. So I really think that's what rules them out over everything else.
Yeah, that's also a terrific point. You can follow Adam on X. He's at Jones, WEEI. Listen to him on that station in Boston, 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern every single day. Adam, that was great. Thanks so much for the time today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Anytime, guys.
Great job. Here's what I find interesting. After all these Super Bowls and all the success, Kraft finally says, okay, that's it. This is unacceptable. And fires, and they move on from the greatest coach in NFL
Not
history.
Happy with only 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah, right. How about that? Jerry Jones hasn't won since Barry Switzer. He wouldn't get rid of the clapper forever. Yeah. He's still stuck with McCarthy. But he moves on from Jimmy Johnson. You're getting too much credit. Mm-hmm. I won back-to-back Super Bowls. I'm sick of this. It's wild how Kraft looks at it.
I know.
And how Jerry Jones is just I'm Chan Gailey. Well, you did go Parcells one time. Chan Gailey, Campo, the Clapper. Well, what are you, the Dallas Cowboys?
One is the definition of greed, and the other one is just the definition of ego, out of control.
I do think McCarthy's coaching for his job.
Well, if they lose,
he better beat the Packers. I'm not saying Belichick's going there, but McCarthy better beat the Packers.
The maestro, Mike Palm's thoughts on all of this coming up next.